So one of the oldest rivalries in the car industry is the Mustang versus the Camaro. And originally the Mustang came out for the, well, they call it 64.5 year. And a couple years later, about 2 or 3 years later, the Camaro followed, because Chevrolet saw the popularity of the pony car, the Mustang, and how much people were buying them. And they were like, well, let's cash in into this. And for the past, what has it been, 60 years almost? This has been one of the biggest rivalries in the car industry. Now, of course, the Camaro did have a hiatus where it wasn't produced from about 2003 to like 09, 08. They discontinued it and then brought it back. But in terms of the rivalry, it's still ongoing to this day. And of course, the original moniker of the Camaro was, people were asking it, what is it? Because, you know, the Mustang had a horse. A Mustang is a horse. And people were like, well, what's the Camaro? And the whole thing was, Chevrolet's whole branding was, well, a Camaro is a small little creature that eats Mustangs. And well, the rivalry was born. But in today's video, I want to compare sort of the most base options of, well, I don't want to say base, but basically the smallest engine options that you could buy in the Camaro and the Mustang. So currently, for the first vehicle, we are sitting in a 2021 Ford Mustang Ecoboost. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty base car. Cloth seats. It has a small screen in terms of the radio and the infotainment, and it's not really optioned out or anything. I mean, it's a pretty base Mustang. But I'm not really focusing on that. What I really want to focus on today is, I want to talk about how these cars actually drive, because that's a big factor. You know, whether you're going for V8, the Camaro has a V6, the Mustang no longer offers it, or this 4-cylinder. I want you guys to be able to make the right choice. And in terms of that, we're going to start with this Mustang with the EcoBoost. Now, to kind of cut into that, the Mustang, this S550 generation, was introduced for the 2015 model year. And of course, when they introduced it and everything, there was a GT, and then of course there was this, the EcoBoost. Now, all the muscle car purists, of course, hate this car. You know, oh, it's a 4-cylinder Mustang. Oh, it sucks. Only V8s and all that. And I mean, I like cars, so I kind of prefer the GT Mustang as well. But the point is, this is a good sports car. If you're looking for some just a daily drive, get to work, and then still have some pep, and also have the looks of a Mustang, this is a pretty good car, because it does all those things. And this EcoBoost 4-cylinder, the 2.3 liter, is not a slouch. I mean, this thing makes about 330 horsepower, so it's a decent motor. I mean, it's not slow by any means. It's definitely quicker than the V6 option that the Mustang used to have before they completely discontinued it for the 2018 model year. But this thing it's also very nimble. So that's another factor of the 4-cylinder versus the GT. This thing has a lot more, it's a lot lighter in the front end. And of course, I mean, it's a much smaller engine. You're missing half the cylinders of the Coyote. So of course it's a lot lighter than the V8 GT car is. But it doesn't mean that the car is worse. It actually means it's better, because if you take it on the track, the whole front end is much lighter. And I mean, even right now I'm on the street. I'm telling you guys, this thing is quick. The EcoBoost 4-cylinder Mustang is a quick car. I mean, it's not, you know, 10-speed GT50 fast, because that car is pretty yeah, but it'll get out of its own way, is what I'm trying to say. You don't have to worry about, oh, I can't pass somebody, or oh, it's too slow. Those things aren't a concern, because the car's quick. I mean, this motor is used in, Ford used in a lot of things. I know it's in the Bronco, of course in the Mustang, and then you can also get it, and I believe in the Explorer as well, yeah. But in terms of like drivability, I've been driving it for 5 minutes, about 5 minutes, yeah. And it's nice. I mean, it's just as comfortable as any other Mustang. You have great visibility, which we'll talk about that with the Camaro. You guys already know where I'm going, but you have great visibility in here, and the seating position in the Mustang is fantastic. And if I wanted to pass somebody, it's pretty good. Now, of course, I have a friend of mine who used to have a EcoBoost Mustang. He actually works for the dealership as well. and his was tuned, and his was very quick. It was pretty quick for an EcoBoost car. He had it tuned on, I don't know, some kind of tune. I know it was running some other stuff as well. The exhaust, I think, was a little bit different or whatnot, but the car was quick. It was a very quick car for a 4-cylinder Mustang. I mean, I guess you could say. But in terms of this thing's great. I mean, it's very comfortable in here. It's very quiet. The cabin's very well insulated. I mean, just in general, this new generation Mustang is a very, very nice car in terms of sports car, and just a car as a car in general. I really do like it. Now, some drawbacks. Of course, you don't have the sound that the Coyote makes. I mean, I love the way the Coyote sounds, and this thing just, it sounds like a 4-cylinder with a turbo. I mean, it's not attractive. It's not, you know, mean. It doesn't really pull at your heartstrings the way the Coyote does, because there's something about that naturally aspirated V8, or even if you supercharge it, just the growl, and then the way it sounds when you floor it. I mean, when it climbs through the RPMs, you can't explain it. I mean, you can't replicate it with this car. I mean, like I said, you can't replicate the Coyote. But the one area that this thing, that I can for sure say this car beats the GT Mustang in, is gas mileage. So this thing gets about 21 to about, depending on how you drive it, anywhere from 21 to 24 in the city, and about 32 on the highway. And then of course, we put it in sport mode and floor it. It is a quick car. I mean, for a 4-cylinder sports car, it's very quick. But as I was saying, you get great gas mileage with this thing. You don't have to worry about, you know, the issues if gas is expensive in your, if you live in areas like, I don't know, LA or something, and it's expensive. You don't have to worry about that with this thing, because this thing gets pretty good gas mileage for a sports car. Now, of course, you know, if you're buying a Mustang, I don't really think you should be concerned with gas mileage, honestly. But you know, teachers their own. If you're just looking for a daily driver, this is a nice car. I mean, it's awesome. I really do like it. I like the driving, you know, just the way you're positioned in the car is awesome. I have the seat kind of put all the way down. It's pretty sweet. You know, everything's at your eye level. And then of course, the car drives very good. It handles really good because it's, as I was saying, it's light in the front, but it also handles very well. You know, so the GT Mustangs, of course, it's a Mustang, so it has the tendency to spin out, but it has so much power that if you're not running good tires, or if you're running even the factory ones, every time you floor it, especially if it's cold outside, you're going to spin a lot. You got to be careful. With this thing, I can just literally just, and the traction control doesn't come on, nothing. It handles fantastically, but of course that's because it also doesn't have the power the Coyote does. But let me know, you guys, do you guys like the Mustang EcoBoost? I mean, have you guys ever had any? I know that when it originally came out, it got a lot of hate, because a lot of Mustang fans were like, why the heck would you put a 4-cylinder in the Mustang? Ford, what are you doing? Honestly, it has paid off, because this thing's I mean, the EcoBoost is a really good selling Mustang. I mean, I think it might have even, no, I don't think it outsold the GT, but it sold very well. So Ford definitely struck it out of the park with this thing, because people love this car. You know, people that don't care about the noise or the power, or, you know, the fact that it's a Mustang and it needs a V8. People don't care about that. What people do care about is the fact that it's a Mustang. It looks like a Mustang, and even with the 4-cylinder, it performs pretty well. Now we're coming up on a really beautiful car right here. We have I just passed a Shelby supercharged Shelby Mustang, and that's the complete opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to in terms of Mustangs, but it is what it is. But let me go ahead and get back to the dealership. Let me hop in the Camaro and let's talk about that one. So now we're sending off in the Camaro. This is a 2020 Camaro with the 4-cylinder. It's a base model, and it's not bad. I mean, it's got the 8-speed, so it's not like the 10-speed that we just drove in the EcoBoost, but I mean, it's not bad. But the only thing that I automatically have to complain about is just there is no room in here. So I really do feel like I'm trapped again, like I was saying earlier with the with the Mustang, there's a lot more room in here. I basically have to have the seat all the way pushed down. Yeah. Yep. Now I just adjusted. Now I feel a little bit more comfortable. So seat has to be all the way adjusted down. Basically, I also need it all the way back, so there's no room in the back at all. And again, the biggest thing with these Camaros is the visibility. I really cannot see much out of here, and it's very detrimental, sort of, because if you can't see out of the car, that's a problem, right? You kind of expect those things with like cars like, you know, Lamborghinis and whatnot, but with a everyday sort of sports car, it's just kind of whatever. Now, the one thing I must give this Camaro over the Mustang is that some of the interior materials are a little bit better, but and it's also not too bad. I mean, it does get up and go. You know, it is like the Ecoboost. The Ecoboost is pretty quick. That one makes about 300 horsepower. This one's around the same. Now, in terms of everyday usage, they're both going to be very, very good in terms of like gas mileage and everything, because this is a 4-cylinder. Now, in terms of how it drives, I do think that the Camaro rides a little bit stiffer than the Mustang does, but another thing that I kind of have to give the Camaro is the handling is a little bit better on the Camaro. I do like it better. The handling on the Mustang, when it comes to like the steering, it feels really kind of loose, and the steering wheel has a good amount of play in it. I know you can adjust it between sport and comfort mode, but I like the Camaro's one. It feels a little bit tighter. It feels a little bit more precise, but in terms of overall, I think the Camaro does handle better than the Mustang does in terms of the 4-cylinder. Now, like I said in the Mustang Ecoboost review, the 4-cylinder Mustang does handle a lot better than the V8 does, because it's a lot lighter in the front. You don't have that much weight, and it's the same thing as the Camaro. But all in all, between the V8 and the 4-cylinder Camaros, it's not that big of a difference. You do feel it more in the Mustang than you do in the Camaros, because just how the Camaro is. As I said, the handling in the Camaro, I do prefer it. And we also have to talk about the things I don't prefer, unfortunately, and it's definitely this interior. I feel like I'm really cooped up, and I do have the seat adjusted down, and I do feel like I'm sitting really low, but that's because if I put it up, then my head hits the thing. I mean, look at that room. So I'm not a big fan. And the interior just doesn't feel as nice. A couple of things are nice in the Mustang. The steering wheel does have leather stitching. That's nice. The Mustang one is plastic, unfortunately, but it kind of is just like it's just plastic everywhere, and it's very rough. You do get a good amount of creaking in here, but all in all, I think the cars are very similar in terms of what they offer, right? Because you're buying a 4-cylinder Camaro or an Ecoboost Mustang because you don't want to go blow a crazy amount of money on the V8. You're not trying to get a GT or an SS Camaro spending 40, 50 grand, whatever it may be. You want the car that you could daily drive, gets good gas mileage, especially right now with gas prices. And it's also quick, because the Camaro does also offer a V6. The Mustang does not. But the V6 in the Camaro is really, it's not the best. It's kind of slow. It's kind of sluggish, but this 4-cylinder really does, it really will wake up when you get on it. We could do a little pull, but there's just, let me see right here. I want to show you guys, because it's not, like I said, it's not the worst, but you do have to kind of be careful. So another thing between the Ecoboost and this, that the Ecoboost is better, is there is a good amount of delay between when you floor it and when it actually starts going anywhere. I mean, once it does get going, it's not bad, but there's like a delay when I push it down. I'd say probably 1 or 2 second delay. I mean, let me count it. So ready, floor it. 1, 2. See, it's about 2 seconds. And that 8-speed, I mean, it's not the worst thing, the 8-speed that's in here. It's a regular torque converter transmission, and it does drive all right. I mean, it's not, you know, the 10-speed in the Mustang or even the dual clutch, but it's not bad. But throwing it into sport mode, there's a mode button right here, so I put it in sport. It kind of should give it a little bit better throttle response, and I'm also going to put it in manual mode. So that's another thing that this thing kind of has over the Mustang. The Mustang didn't have paddle shifters because it was a base, but let's go ahead and downshift kind of. Yeah, okay, so when you do it yourself, obviously it's a lot better. So I don't think it's the engine that does it. I think it's the transmission. because when I do it here, the throttle's pretty good. It is pretty instant. But when I was doing it like right now, if I just floor it, there is that delay. So it is definitely the factor between the throttle and the transmission. I don't like that, because that can also cause some issues for you. I mean, if you need to get out of a sticky situation, like you need to pass somebody or something, that 2-second delay can mean a lot. It could be a big detriment, but I don't know. I guess each is their own preference. One more time. Yeah, see, once it does get going, it's pretty good. I do like it. It is pretty quick. It does accelerate pretty well, but just until you get there, it's such a delay. I mean, you guys let me know what you guys think. I think I prefer the engine in the Mustang, the EcoBoost. I think it drives better. But I mean, this one's quick. It's just that factor of when it actually starts going between when you want it to and when it does, there's a big delay, and I don't like that. It could also be very detrimental, as I was saying. But let me just, when we get around, I'll do a quick pull, and we can really talk about how to accelerate to that point. So I have it in sport mode. It's back in auto. Let's see how it does over here. We're gonna get on the highway again and just see kind of how it accelerates, how it drives. I mean, it's not bad. As I was saying, it's you know, it's not the fastest thing. And I mean, obviously you're not buying this to go fast. If you wanted a fast Camaro, you'd buy an SS or even a ZL1. But all in all, it's not the worst. You know, it's not the slowest thing I've driven. It's just that delay. I mean, and of course the Camaros do have that thing when you floor it and you're kind of keeping in the throttle, they do know, so they will activate this thing called a performance shift, where after every shift it kind of shifts a little bit quicker. It's pretty cool. It does make some cool noises, like when you shift. When I drove that Corvette, the Grand Sport, when it shifts, it would kind of give this little like pop or burble after every shift. Pretty cool little gimmick. But so just to reiterate things I do like about the Camaro, I am a fan of the handling. I think it's a really good handling sports car. I think it definitely is good in its own realm. It definitely is a lot tighter than the Mustang, and I do like the steering better. But you know, that's each their own. It just depends. You have to drive the car. Second thing is, I do like how it accelerates after it finally picks up off that delay. It does have good acceleration. It keeps pulling all, you know, throughout the whole RPM, and it is quick. It's not bad. And I also do kind of like the styling of the Camaro. This redesign I'm not the biggest fan of, but the 6th gen Camaro I do like when they came out in 15 and 16, in 2016 when they came out. I like that look. I was a fan. I don't like the redesign so much like this one, but all in all, it's pretty good. But the cons, you guys know, the visibility in here is not good. I don't like it. You can't see out of it. You feel like you're really cooped up in a car. And in terms of the interior, there's a lot of plastic everywhere. And you know, the Mustang does have it too, but at least in the Mustang, it's not as bad. Here, it's just blatant plastic everywhere. I mean, the dash, the door cards, it's not good. I don't like it. And they sort of force you to get the premium interiors if you want a nicer interior. But all in all, not a horrible sports car. I mean, I wouldn't, you know, completely cross it off my list, but I wouldn't also this wouldn't be my first choice. I really don't think it would. Now, the Challenger we can't really compare because they don't make a 4-cylinder Challenger, and rightfully so. That big body, it's really heavy. So yeah, but all in all, the Camaro's an all right car. It's a good sports car. It's not the best thing out there, but let me know down below if you're a diehard Mustang or Camaro guy. Please try to keep it objective. Don't you know, be in the comments, oh, Camaro's the best thing ever, because you've owned multiple ones. Great, that's awesome, but please look at it objectively. I think the Mustang really does exceed this car in terms of what it offers, like performance and even interior and just daily drivability. It's much better. The gas mileage in the Mustang is also better. But all in all, let me know down below what you guys think. Would you go for the Mustang or the Camaro? We are talking strictly EcoBoost, so no high performance, no GT500 ZL1s or even GTs or SSs, none of that. We're talking about the base model 4 cylinders. Let me know down below what you guys think. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and you guys take it easy.